So let us start. Uh, so last day we had discussed about the basics of electrostatics. We have seen that what from the Gauss theorem and this operator nabla, that is gradient operator or A there, divergence operator. So we can A into come down to the and we can derive the expression of Laplace equation, that is basically nabla square V is equal to 0, and in 2D form it is del 2V del x square plus del 2V del y square equal to 0. This one, sorry, del y square equal to 0. That is the thing we had in very important relationship. We will also see that this Laplace equation, it is in 2 dimension. In 3 dimension, there would be a z added in it. And apart from that, using the boundary conditions, we may solve it. And doing that one, what we did is that we simplified this Laplace equation for basically 1D problems. Where we had considered a concentric cylinder. The 2 concentric cylinders are there, and what are the capacitance or resistance between them, we have found it. We have also seen observed an important relationship that will be is equal to R into C is equal to epsilon by sigma, where epsilon is the permittivity of the dielectric and sigma is the conductivity of the medium, basically in the same thing. So if we have the medium, it may be partly dielectric, partly conducting or like this. So epsilon and sigma may vary, but RC will remain constant in this way. That is a very important. Once you one calculations, that another comes automatically. And another thing is also there. Say suppose if suppose in between the medium is water. If it is pure water, what will happen is sigma is very low. So the dielectric, if it is here, their sigma is low, so basically epsilon r is also low. But if it becomes basically conducting slowly, basically, if we just put some salt in it or becoming salt conductive there, the sigma will increase, but simultaneously the epsilon will also increase. That's an interesting observation. So an ideal conductor has a dielectric constant which is also infinite. So that is a very important thing here. So this is what we had observed there, and we'll continue and go for some other area. Another example I will take it. What is there is that concentric sphere. What we call it B or A? I'll try to see that one. So the capacitance between, let's suppose we want to fabricate these two concentric spheres, find the capacitance between these two spheres. So what we do is that let charge enclosed is equal to Q, and we consider an annular element of at a distance r there. So at this of this ring, a small ring there. So what is the charge density? D is equal to Q divided by 4 pi small r square. This is all we know. And definitely what we can say is that epsilon is equal to E is equal to D by epsilon. So it is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon r square. So epsilon means the epsilon r into epsilon 0. I'm just putting it like this. So what we want is that the voltage is equal to minus A to B. Sorry, it should be minus I have given B to A. That means from very high distance you come close to it. So that is the potential, yeah, the work done. That is, and this is equal to minus of this one is equal to E dot dr. So what is it? Is equal to minus Q divided by 4 pi epsilon into 1 by r square into dr, B to A. And this comes to be is equal to minus Q divided by 4 pi epsilon. And here it is log natural r. No, sorry, not log natural r. It is 1 by r. And it is B to A. So this is coming to be is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon into 1 by A minus 1 by BD. Okay. So this is all the standard procedure. We have done it analytically and we have not used any numerical method and using the symmetricity. So it is basically a one-dimensional problem. Similarly, we can find out so it is C is equal to Q divided by V is equal to, what is it? Q divided by E is equal to 4 pi epsilon. Please correct me, into 1 by A minus 1 by B. And if we go for resistance calculation, so what we will have to do? We will have to use that J is equal to sigma into E. So from that one, we get R is equal to, and J into this one is basically J is equal to, if we integrate it over that A there, over area, you get the current, and you get is equal to, R is equal to 1 by 4 by sigma into 1 by A minus 1 by B. Okay. This is a very standard monotonous way of solving it like this there. But we can add some flavor of instrumentation in it. Right now it is nothing there, or measurement in it. If we observe that this resistance I will be fixing this area, I will be concentrating on this one. If we observe that if B is far greater than A, okay, B is far greater than A, then this comes to be R is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi sigma into 1 by A. So the outer radius, what is the outer radius? It doesn't matter. The resistance becomes approximately, I will say it approximately, it becomes equal to R by 1 sigma, 1 by 4 pi sigma into A. And then, okay, so what? But the question is that, can it be useful, this observation be useful for measurement of anything? Yes. You can have a ship, or basically a small boat also will do it. And here, so this is a sea water, say. And often we want to measure the salinity of the water, sea water there. What is, rather we can say, what is the conductivity of this water there. Okay. So, if I put it two circular spheres inside it, sphere 1 and sphere 2. Okay. So, what is the resistance between spheres 1 and 2? What will be there? What will be the resistance between the sphere 1 and 2? Can you tell me? Anybody?
Zero.
It will parallel connection. Or
Huh?
between it will be 0, yes.
Between it will be 0, no?
Yes.
No. I mean, there will be the assumptions to it. If 1 and 2 are very widely apart,
Huh?
see, essentially the current is going to flow throughout the seawater and then converge back to 2, like electric fields.
So basically we can think of, there is an imaginary outer sphere. There are two imaginary outer spheres and they are connected and attached to it. So basically what we will have, if this is one resistance between this one, in series with it, there is another resistance, identical resistance with this one. So what we can say, resistance between this one is 2 into 4 pi sigma into 1 by A. So basically it is 1 by twice pi sigma into 1 by A. Okay? So it is B, doesn't matter. We can think of two imaginary spheres outside are like this there, and they are connected in series. So basically,
So how do you make the assumption that they are connected?
just 1 minute. We can find out sigma. You may find out sigma, that is the salinity or the conductivity of the seawater there. Yes, there was one question. Yes?
So how valid is the assumption that the two spheres that you're imagining have the same potential? See, if they're connected to each other, then the potential must be the same.
That is the thing there, what we are doing is a very large, you consider it infinite. And inside
Yeah, so then the depth should also be equally high.
is that we can look at it, these two series resistance there. And basically what we wanted to say is that the distance does not matter. If after a certain distance, it will be almost equal to, it will remain almost constant. It will not change with the distance there. So these two things we can consider it. So we can find out the sigma out of this. And this is a technique which is used for measurement of this conductivity of seawater. You may find out a very common book in this one, this example, Krejcik. I think the spelling I think possibly this is the spelling. Krejcik's book, you must have, there, open it up, you will find out this is an example which is given there.
That means according to this, if I place two spheres anywhere in the sea,
Yeah,
then the resistance won't change.
that is the thing. It will not, it will be, the change will be negligible. So to accommodate both of them in the same ship, I have put them at the two corners.
So theoretically, what you're saying is that I can have one, I'd say the intercontinental communication can just happen between this because the resistance won't change for a year.
Try to extrapolate, but I think, and discuss it, and we can discuss it after the class, but I think to explain this one, the concentric sphere, which let us stop here. Rather, we go for another interesting problem there. Okay?
I think this can be used as a barometer. Since if you have the pressure inside.
Come up with an idea. Yeah, that's the thing there. There are a lot of things you can look into it from our common sense itself. We can think of like this here. Okay. Next will be rather more interesting problem. So first of all, we have seen both of them. So what we can say, it is in 2D plane. These are either a cylinder or a sphere. Both the cases we have considered, they are concentric. So we have considered so far it is for a concentric sphere or cylinder. Obviously, we have to consider that this into the length of it is quite long and there, so that the edge effect as this one not there. So similarly, what we had done it also, if it was eccentric, sphere or cylinder. How to find out this one? We had done it.
Sir, we use a conformal mapping.
Conformal mapping. So one conformal mapping, one way is that we use ln z is equal to, w is equal to ln z, from where what we have seen that this maps into two cylinders there. And if it is eccentric, we had seen it, there is a change in this pattern, we could find out the there. But that is also a little bit difficult. Another type of mapping, I will just look into it, where I will just rather write down the problem, then it would be more interesting. And this is an assignment, I will tell it. But this assignment is not compulsorily that you will have to do it yourself and submit it. But what I want is that you first try it. And those people who can who get this one and who have got knack in mathematics, please submit it. And after 1 week, I will give you the solution. I also tried, but I couldn't do the solution. I had to take help of my colleague. So that's why I don't expect that you will also, all of you will be able to map. If you can do it, you can solve it. If you can solve it, it is very nice. But this is indeed a challenging problem there. So here it is, the assignment. So this is your problem, assignment 2 it would be rather, possibly. I am simplifying the problem. The problem is more here there. Then suppose I have an eccentric circle, and the eccentric circle location, I just make it more specified, that this is an eccentric one, and say this one is given that r is equal to 1 by 5. That means this is your 1 by 5, this point is 2 by 5, okay. And I have given the dimension, the outer circle is unit radius, inner circle is eccentric, radius of there 1 by 5, and this is your 0. This is an eccentric circle. Now what we say is that you do a conformal mapping, and I tell you that this is equal to W is equal to Fz, and I tell it that Z, this is your Z plane. And this is given that the Fz is equal to Z minus K divided by Kz minus 1. So earlier it was W is equal to log natural Z, and this is Z is equal to minus K divided by Kz minus 1. Okay. So this consider okay, what we want to do is that, first of all, let me draw it. I claim and I ask you to prove that this, if we transform it in the W plane, the outer circle will be mapped as an unity circle. So this will be, outer circle will be mapped as a unit circle. But the inner one circle will be mapped as a concentric circle, and this is, the value is K. Okay. So this is your conformal mapping. Okay. So show that, so it is your concentric circle. Show that, and this one will be K there. Show that the above mapping or rather transfers or maps the left hand side to the right hand side. That is a concentric part. So, if we have a concentric cylinder, eccentric cylinder, by using this conformal mapping, I can get a concentric cylinder or concentric sphere, and then I can apply any our standard techniques to solve and find out what is the capacitance and what is the resistance there. But also find out the value of K. Okay, I just put the answer. K is equal to 0.2087. So we need to show, we have given everything. The transformation is also given, Kz minus K by Kz minus 1. We say that this will give another mapping. We need to show that is a conformal mapping, and where the outer circle will be mapped to an outer circle. But the inner eccentric circle, I have just only for simplification of this one, I have shown you a simpler type of mapping. It will be eccentric circle into a concentric circle there. And in that case, what is the value of K? I have also given you the answer to it. So we will have to show the first one, that using this one, the outer circle, unit circle is mapped as a unit circle, and the inner circle will be mapped as an unit, as a concentric inner circle. And third part is that what is the radius of that inner circle, that we need to find out. It's an interesting problem, but you can see the people say instrumentation is not that mathematical, but a lot of mathematics are also involved, and we can get in very interesting engineering applications for your mathematics, which we have come across or which we have studied earlier there. So I will try to, I am expecting that at least few of you, we will all try, and few of you come up with some solution and that way there and send it to us in our teams there. And we'll, if you cannot do it, don't worry, I will send you the solution there. But it is, what I say is that interesting, and also you can find readily an application there. Okay. So I will go to the next part here. Now we will come back to the Laplace equation. So we know the Laplace equation in 2D, XY coordinate. This is our Laplace equation, and this Laplace equation, if we solve it, we get it the potential at different points, and if we know, we have seen it with the 1D problems there, if we can calculate the potential at different points, we can also find out on all the points in the Rayet zone, we can also find out what is the resistance and the capacitance. Okay, whether so the methods for solutions basically, and also we need to have some boundary conditions. Because these are partial differential equations, so it will have a boundary conditions. We will have to define the boundary conditions and we need to solve it. And methods of solutions are, one is analytical, second is numerical, and numerical we can have several things. It is finite difference, and finite element, and then boundary element, etc. So we will see the basics of, because all the things are available in software, but how does it do it and what is the Laplace equation there? Because you should know a little bit even if you use software, because otherwise the interpretations will not be clear to you there. Okay. So we will discuss about those things there, but we have seen that the analytical method, though it is elegant, but it is complicated, as I have shown you like this. If you want to really calculate the, say suppose a cable where this is the outer shield and this is the inner cable, what is the capacitance? We will have to do a lot of calculations and this transformation, that transformation, but we can find out what is the capacitance there theoretically of it like this. But often it becomes more complicated. That's why I have simplified it. So it is too complicated to get an analytical expression. So we may look for numerical one. But so I will discuss about all the methods also, all that I have here there. At least these three we'll discuss. But before that, what is important is to know about our properties of Laplace equation, because we will see due to its property, the Laplace equation solution becomes easy or like this there. These are because we know the Laplace equation is the basis of this solution of partial differential equation and also the Fourier series and all other things there. So let us not go into the mathematics in that one, but just try to extract and try to say only place the what are the basic observations or the mathematical conclusions while you discuss about the properties of Laplace equation. Number one is solution of Laplace equation, that is Vxy, has no local maxima or minima. All extrema occur on the boundaries. Okay. Next is solution of Laplace equation can be uniquely determined if V is specified, V is a specified function on the boundaries of the region. What do we mean by this one? That means I just say, take an example. That means if we have a zone, if it is like this, say suppose I say V is equal to 0 volt, this is V is equal to 100 volt, and I say that del V del X equal to 0, and say del V del X equal to say 0. That means this in this field, here their field is contained, the potential at this point is 0, this potential at this point is 100, but these are basically, you can say they are insulators. If we say it heat transfer problem, say suppose, okay, then V comes to be the temperature. So temperature here is 0 degree, temperature is here is 100 degrees Celsius, and these two sides are insulated. So if we can say the insulator in both in thermal context as well as the electrical context, because this equation is valid for both electrical as well as thermal equations. So we say that, okay, in the boundaries, if we specify the values, they will be, it will have an unique solution. And third one is what is there, important thing, that if we are, which is basically what I wanted to say.
Sir,
Yes?
in the boundaries where they meet, the corners, so do we take that into consideration also, or
Huh?
like, for example, these boundaries that you've drawn, they will all converge or intersect at one point or the another, right? The
I have
corners
just
in
one
this square.
example. We'll come up with several examples. But what I say is that one space I need to consider, and any equations, any differential equation, we have to solve using some boundary conditions. Second order differential equation, if it is one dimension, so we have to do that two boundary conditions, x is equal to 0, x is equal to L in one problem, second order. Similarly, in this case, I am saying that this is a two-dimensional problem. I have to define it on all the 2D problems. So we'll give you one more examples afterwards. Okay. Let me see, tell me it one. If we are given either V of xy or del V del N, that is a normal to the potential function here there. That is normal this direction. dN means that is in the normal direction on the of the boundary. And the given function satisfies the restricted condition imposed by Gauss theorem. Let us not go much in the into the last statement. It is all our concerns are satisfied by satisfies Gauss theorem, but the mathematicians have got something to say because there are some other cases which do not satisfy Gauss theorem. So, but for our case is it there. Then there is unique solution of Laplace equation. So what we said is that either define the voltage at all the places. First case we can say it is V1, V2, V3, V4. We can say that if it is like this, the second condition will be there. This is uniquely determined if on the boundaries the potential is given. Third is that, okay, we need not give all the things there, but in this case, not the potential may not be known, but if it is del V del N is given there, this one is del V del N is given there, then also specified there, then also the Laplace equation is uniquely determined. So the boundary condition is important, and if we can assign a specific boundary conditions, we can give a there, but a boundary condition there, proper boundary condition, we will have only one solution, that is uniquely determined. So we define the boundary conditions in three manners, possibly you are familiar with it. One is called Dirichlet problem, where V is actually Vxy or Vxy, Z on all the things here, the coordinate, all the thing is given for at each point on the boundary. That means all the boundary points, the value of the function is defined clearly. That is called a Dirichlet problem. Next is that Neumann problem, where we have the normal derivative del V del N is given everywhere on the boundary. So we have everywhere on the boundary we have a Neumann condition, that means del V del N is given all the boundaries there. But more common cases we encounter is a mixture of first two, Dirichlet and Neumann conditions, and which is called a mixed problem. Where, so basically both 1 and 2. Somewhere it is either, as I told, it's a mixed problem. Say suppose I say that this potential is fixed and specified. And these two are, suppose these are conductor, this is conductor, these two are basically the insulators. So you apply some voltage here and voltage here and find out, we want to find out what is the capacitance there or what current is flowing through this one there. But these are insulator as well. So what we have is that the electrical potential, electrical field will be in these directions. So, but this field will not be in these directions. There would not be any field in this one. So, del V del L is equal to 0 means this will not be, no field lines will cross this boundary. And this is obviously assumptions, and that is there. Okay? So, we can, so basically these are important things that if we find one solution in which satisfies these things, definitely we need not look for other because it will be always an unique solution there. That is a very important observations there. And obviously there are boundaries, I mean there are few peculiarities. The boundaries also, there is no minimum and maximum in between. The maximum or minimum will occur always at the boundaries. That is also another. So a lot of mathematical A's are there, but the question is that where do we apply these things there? Where do we apply these things and where would you require these things there? So I will go for further these things afterwards, but possibly an example, I just put it like this, of this one is basically what we call it tomography. Have you heard that one, tomography? You must have heard.
CT, computer tomography.
Computer tomography, but it is not computer tomography, so it is not X-ray tomography we can have, ultrasonic tomography may be had, optical tomography we may have. So different types of, actually this is a tomo means to cut. So you basically, you are not cutting it from outside, say we are trying to find out. Say suppose this is your region of interest in your body or like this, and there is these are muscles or some there, some flesh or some muscles or like this there, and this is there a tumor has come up like this there. So tumor has come up like this there, which has got a complete different properties, maybe in terms of capacitance, this is a dielectric, this is maybe epsilon 1, this is maybe epsilon 2 there. So what we need is that from outside we need to find out whether there is a tumor present there, and next is that what will be the dimension of the tumor and the location of the tumor. This can be done by using the tomography, which extensively uses what we call it a Laplace equation. How do we do it? Basically, here we put some number of plates outside like this, a particular zone like this there. Say suppose between this one, what we call it a capacitance tomography. Name this is a C2, this is C3, this is C3. So basically we measure, we put some electrodes above them and we measure, so this should be C1. C1 dashed I call it, C2 dashed I call it, and C3 dashed I call it. So we measure, in these electrodes, we try to measure the capacitance between C1, C1 dash, C2, C2 dash, C3, C3 dash. Also we can have C1, C2, C1, C3, a number of combinations there. And this all the capacitances we...
Sir,
Yes?
sir, one question.
Yeah?
Sir, if the topography is like this, that is, it appears that you have taken out muscle and you are doing the doing the calculation experimentally outside the body, isn't it? Because inside the body, can you put these capacitive plates?
Okay. Your question is that not in your muscle. I will give you some example. Don't worry. Your objective is that you cannot put the capacitive A in this way. But we can definitely use some optical light here, or diffused optical light here, or ultrasonography. I will satisfy your there. There are what are the things that one is called a biomedical tomography, another is called a process tomography. The application of process tomography, I have not just told it. I thought I will tell it in the next day. But whatever may be, whether it is possible or not, I am just telling that not only a human body, but also many other cases it may be there. Say suppose in a pipeline, some water is going and there is some sort of foreign element there. You can just try to see that one. Or say suppose I put it in a more different and more popular, important area there. Have you heard of this one, accidents in nuclear reactors?
Yeah, Chernobyl and latest is Fukushima.
Often there are certain bubbles come up. There was, I think, the name was 3 Miles Island, no? In USA, there was a famous accident.
Yeah. 3 Miles Island.
3 Miles Island. So what happened was that in the nuclear plant, there was some bubble was detected. And the bubble actually changed all the heat transfer characteristics and all the things there. So it was almost the temperature of these things was changed and any time it could have melted. So in these cases, it is often required whether there is a bubble on it, what is the size of the bubble, or in its location. So whatever may be, the tomography is the same. But what I wanted is that one is called measurement. That means you measure all possible ways, C1, C2, C1, C3, C1, C4, C1 dash, like this, all possible ways like this there. And you get some sort of database like this. And next is what we call it inverse mapping. We'll discuss those things afterwards. What is inverse mapping? Okay, we have got a series of experimental data on like this there. From there, can I go for some mapping? That is called inverse mapping. That means from the array of this C1, C2, C1, C3, all the thing there. From this array, can I come up to say, okay, if it happens, then this will be the possible and the configuration of it. That is the mapping of it like this here. So, whether you call it imaging techniques, or whether you call it an ultrasonography, or optical diffused imaging, or capacitance tomography, or so many things are there. The fundamental part of it is basically some inverse mapping. And this inverse mapping, for this one, you require good amount of analytical study. Okay, if I know that this is the A there, So it is basically forward one, we'll have to do it analytically or numerically. If this element is there, present there, what will be the expected values and the distributions of capacitance? If we know that one, you have your knowledge base, you may apply data analytics or all the things there. You may find out what is the mapping which is the best for this sort of value of it. So naturally, this is all requires a background in the background, some calculations. Okay, different possible ranges and sizes and like this there, locations there. And there from that one, what are the values of capacitance? We get it like this there. From there, you measure some unknown values and there, and from that, you just do the inverse mapping. So, but all the things, actually what I have shown it in this one, particularly in capacitance tomography and impedance tomography or like this. Similarly, in optical also we can do it, but they hinge on basic theory of electrostatics or electromagnetics. So that's why we need to use the FEM technique or FDM technique or many other things there. So I think I have crossed the time. Any question, quick question, one question, we can have it, otherwise we can stop.